Is the narrative life of Frederick Douglass, part two, paragraphs 3 and 4. Please remember that you should have your stop and jot notes open and that you can pause this video at any time to go ahead and take notes. So, in the last paragraph, Frederick Douglass was talking about a book that he had read where a master and a slave had a conversation, and the slave was so persuasive that the master ended up giving the slave his freedom. So, in the same book, I met with one of Sheridan's mighty speeches on and in behalf of Catholic emancipation. Emancipation means freedom, freeing the slaves. These were choice documents to me. I read them over and over again with unabated interest. His interest never failed or never flagged or waned. They gave tongue to interesting thoughts of my own soul, which had frequently flashed through my mind and died away for want of utterance. It's a very interesting sentence. So the book spoke to him. The writing is exactly what he wanted to say. And these ideas flashed through his mind, but the ideas always died because he wasn't able to utter them. He didn't have the words to say them. So the book was very powerful to him because in it was written exactly the same things that he wanted to say. The moral which I gained from the dialogue was the power of truth over the conscience of even a slaveholder. So he says that truth will win over and it can beat any argument that a slaveholder might give. What I got from Sheridan was a bold denunciation of slavery, putting down of slavery, and a powerful vindication of human rights, that human rights should always win. And the last paragraph, paragraph 4. The reading of these documents enabled me to utter my thoughts, to say my thoughts, and to meet the arguments brought forward to sustain slavery. The book helped him refine his arguments. But while they relieved me of one difficulty, they brought on another even more painful than the one of which I was relieved. The more I read, the more I was led to abhor and detest my enslavers. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why slaves were not allowed to read. The more he read, the more knowledge he gained, and the more he understood and hated the people who enslaved him. I could regard them in no other light than a band of successful robbers who had left their homes and gone to Africa and stolen us from our homes and in a strange land reduced us to slavery. I loathed them, hated them, as being the meanest as well as the most wicked of men. As I read and contemplated the subject, behold, that very discontentment which Master Hugh had predicted would follow my learning to read had already come, to torment and sting my soul to unutterable anguish. So his master told him, if you learn to read, then that means you're going to be in hell because you're going to understand your situation and you won't be able to do anything about it. And of course, that came true. As I writhed under it, writhing is like squirming and not being able to do anything. I would at times feel that learning to read had been a curse rather than a blessing. It had given me a view of my wretched condition, my horrible condition, without the remedy, without the cure. It opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no ladder upon which to get out. Here is a good analogy or an extended metaphor. Okay, he compares his situation to a pit, but there's no ladder for him to climb out of the pit. He's stuck in this horrible situation. In moments of agony, I envied my fellow slaves for their stupidity. He was jealous that the slaves around him were stupid, or in this case, ignorant of not knowing what freedom really meant. I have often wished myself a beast. I preferred the condition of the meanest reptile to my own. Anything, no matter what, to get rid of thinking. It was this everlasting thinking of my condition that tormented me. There was no getting rid of it. It was pressed upon me by every object within sight or hearing, animate or inanimate. Everything that he looked at reminded him that he was a slave. The silver trump of freedom had roused my soul to eternal wakefulness. So again, we have a metaphor. Freedom now appeared to disappear no more forever. Here we have an oxymoron where he uses the word appeared and disappeared for freedom. Freedom appeared to disappear no more forever. So now that he has freedom, he can't get rid of it. It's stuck in his mind and it's tormenting him because he can't be free. But he has the idea of freedom. It was heard in every sound and seen in everything. It was ever present to torment me with a sense of my wretched condition. I saw nothing without seeing it. I heard nothing without hearing it, and felt nothing without feeling it. It looked from every star, it smiled in every calm, breathed in every wind, and moved in every storm. So these last lines say how everything around him reminded him that he was a slave and couldn't be free.